Noodles. We're going to be talking about credit education 2010. Alright? That debt elimination, that's what's up. Alright, credit repair agencies and debt management programs and all that stuff. Alright? That's out the window. Alright, I'm about education. Alright, the real deal. Alright, so I'm going to be educating y'all in 2010. Bring y'all up to speed. Letting y'all know all the things that y'all been doing wrong all these years. Alright? One of the things y'all been doing wrong all these years is letting other folks handle y'all affairs. Alright, it's time to do it yourself. Alright? Because one thing about credit is that it's ongoing. When you read articles, it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time fix. They tell y'all that. It's not a one-time fix. So, for example, you pay somebody, they fix it short term, 6 months later, a year later, you screwed up again. Alright, so that's why y'all need to monitor y'all file and make sure it's updated all the time. Alright, and so what I'm going to be talking about today is your credit report. Because once you decide to monitor your file and you out of denial and you ready to get that A credit, alright, it's going to be on. You're going to get it. It just takes work. Okay, and you ain't got to pay nobody to do it. Alright, so you're going to do it yourself. It's the new approach in credit. Alright, that way you don't keep getting scammed. Alright, because a lot of y'all done been victims. Y'all think y'all done been, you know, a victim and scam, and you paid somebody $400 or $500 to fix your credit, and they, you know, they ain't nowhere to be found. Alright, they probably did a temporary fix for y'all, but all that stuff came right back. Alright, well, we're going to be talking about, you know, your file. When you order it, you know, getting those errors off your file, we want to be 100% accurate. No errors. Error free. Alright? So when you order your credit file, one of the first things that you want to do is get all those names and, you know, your addresses and all that employer stuff, old information. You want to get that stuff updated and corrected to 100% accuracy. Alright? That's one of the first things you're going to do. Nothing else. You ain't disputing nothing but that personal information. Alright? That's credit tip number 1. Alright? Dispute that credit information, you know, in that personal information section, and wait for the information to come back. Alright? We're going to be talking about 3 things in the summary section of your file that's very, very important. There's a lot of things in the summary that you need to be concerned about. Well, we're going to be going over 3 things, because you have total accounts, you have collection accounts, you have public records, you have delinquent accounts, you have derogatory accounts. All that stuff is very important. But we're going to be talking about 3 things today, okay? We're going to be talking about open account, closed accounts, and the payment amounts, okay? Because these are 3 very important biggies in that whole summary section. And so this is how you're going to be able to spot a lot of errors, okay? So you know what's right and what's wrong, all right? So we're going to talk about open accounts. Open accounts or accounts that you never close. Never, never, never close open revolving accounts. Alright? Because that is your credit. Okay? So say, for example, you know, you don't had this bill for 4 or 5 years. You just paid it off. And you so eager to call them folks up and tell them to close that account. That's what y'all been doing wrong. Okay? That's your credit. That's points. Okay? The minute you call them and close it, your score go down. Alright? So I'm bringing a whole new era of credit education to y'all. Alright? Because it's stuff that, you know, they ain't telling y'all. But that's number 1. Okay? Open accounts in that revolving section. Do not close those accounts. You want those accounts to stay open forever. Alright? Because if you look at my FICA, my FICA say the history of the age. Okay? Look at that model. Alright? And look at my books. Alright, I got that model in there because I don't figure out the credit score formula. Alright, I just been laying back for a minute. But I'm bringing y'all the education. Alright, it's up to y'all. Y'all need to educate yourself. Alright. But closed accounts. Closed accounts are very, very biggie. Okay, they're biggie too. Alright, because you want to make sure the closed accounts are closed. The ones that's supposed to be closed, we want to get those closed. Alright. So, for example, an installment account or a mortgage account or other account or equity account, when you pay them type of accounts off, you want to make sure those type of accounts are closed. Alright, because those kind of accounts could affect your debt ratio. Okay, so if you had an account with a mortgage company and you know, it's still open, close it. If you refinance or if the lender sold the account and it's open, close it. You no longer have no business with them. So that's closed. So that's what you need to be spotting out, you know, when you looking at your file, making sure the right account's open and the right account's closed. Alright, so we talked about open accounts, talked about closed accounts. Now this section is a biggie, payments. Alright, it says payments in the summary section. Okay, the payment section is very important. This is the red flag. Alright, so the light bulb should come on if these are out of whack. Alright, and they're not the same. So let me just give you an example of the payment amount section. The payment amount is all the creditors that you pay out monthly. Alright, so say for example you got 2 accounts, a car payment, $300, and a credit card company, you're paying $100 a month. That's $400 a month. That's supposed to say in that payment section that you're paying out every month, $400 a month. Alright, so it's supposed to say $400 across. Okay, so there's some ways that it may not show $400 across. One way it may not be $400 is, say for example, say on your TransUnion account, the credit card company is not reporting on TransUnion, so you only got your car payment reporting on TransUnion. So where TransUnion payment section supposed to be just that car payment, $300. That's it. Okay, so that's how you just decipher your payment amounts. It shouldn't be off by no $500 or $600. If it be off, it's gonna be off by a couple of dollars. All right. So you gotta Experian saying $1,200, Equifax saying $400, and TransUnion saying $600. That's a red flag to let you know something ain't right. You need to try to see what's going on. Make sure your payment amount is accurate, 100%. That way, when you go go apply for that house, your debt to ratio is right. It's correct. All right, so you don't get penalized or denied for no loan because of that debt ratio. Okay, so that's it for today. I don't want to bore y'all. I just want to walk y'all through 2010. It's coming. A change is coming. It is coming to America, because this is long overdue.